Good morning. I'm happy to be here and give you sort of a post-election update on immigration issues. 71% of Latinos voted for Obama, so it was very clear that he has garnered their support even in the face of the highest deportation levels ever. As of August, it was 366,000 persons had been deported from the United States, many of whom were deported for minor criminal violations and often no violations whatsoever. They were just here out of status. Notwithstanding Obama's pre-election bid for Latinos through his administrative action, sort of termed the DREAM Act, although it wasn't an act and it's not exactly a dream, helped a lot, I believe, in the elections. Basically, he, through his administration, is giving a 2-year grant to young persons, anyone under the age of 31 years old, who came here before the age of 16, that they would have a 2-year stay in the United States, be able to get a work permit. Obviously, that will enable them to get a driver's license. In some areas, go to school, pursue their education, as long as they don't have serious criminal violations. We were all a little nervous that if Romney took over, that program would be disbanded. He at one point did say that he would disband that program, and in fact, the numbers of applicants for that program have not been as high as USCIS expected that they would be, probably in part because we were all unsure what would happen after the elections. I think we're pretty confident that this program is going to stay in place now. I'm expecting that the numbers of applicants will increase. In terms, and it may be one of the better programs to at least give some relief to the immigrant population. We have no confidence that a comprehensive immigration act will be passed, even though it was in Obama's acceptance speech. With a Republican-controlled House, it's difficult to see that a comprehensive immigration reform would go through, and certainly not one that would include a broad amnesty program that we saw about 12 years ago. There is not likely to be a 245I adjustment or forgiveness or amnesty. So I think some of the things that we could hope to see are perhaps a passage of something like the STEM Act. It was for scientists, technological people, engineers, mathematicians. They would be given visas. That bill did not pass. However, it's possible something like that would go through to encourage our future economic growth. The version of that act was about 55,000 visas from the diversity lottery would be reallocated for visas for, the more technological scientific professions. So that would be palpable to the American people and could pass. Something like a DREAM Act could pass. We know in 2010 that died. That would probably be a palpable bit of legislation that could go through. But like I said, in terms of sort of broad, comprehensive immigration reform, it would be hopeful and great if something like that passed, but probably unlikely with a Republican-controlled Congress. Questionable whether funding would continue or be regenerated to build a wall. We are hoping for less enforcement, that ICE would get back to the priorities that they said they had, which is to target aliens who have serious criminal violations and to stop loading the system down, the deportation system, with persons who don't have serious criminal violations. Right now, a lot of the immigration courts are booked to 2015. It's an unmanageable process, which has provoked ICE to actually renege on its very famous, infamous 287G program. At least in Prince William County, they have stated they're not going to renew 287G. But when I spoke to an ICE official about this, actually he would not commit that even though currently an agreement hasn't been signed for 287G to continue, that they wouldn't continue it.
Can you tell us what that is?
Yes, 287G is basically refers to a provision in the Immigration and Nationality Act whereby ICE can enter into agreements with local law enforcement to basically deputize local law enforcement to enforce immigration laws. They have the full power of ICE officers to do everything from question the person about their immigration status to hold them to issue notices to appear in immigration court. So, like I said, we're hopeful that some of the enforcement activities will decrease and give higher priority to serious criminal aliens. That pretty much wraps it up. The one last program that is slated is the stateside waiver program, which would enable persons who face a bar if they leave the United States to actually apply for those waivers in the United States, which would go a long way towards family reunification. So that's the summarized update on post-election immigration issues. Thank you very much.
Is there any kind of opportunity for UUSJ for people to participate in?
Yes, I think, I mean, is it still being taped? Or?
Okay.
In terms of participation, I think one of the key things that we all need to do is make it known to our legislators how important the immigration issue is and how important immigrants are in our community. And even if it's unlikely to have Comprehensive Immigration Reform Act, to still press forward on that. We've got a whole community of people that are living sort of under the radar, not fully appreciated and included in our society. And it's important that those persons become full participating members. They pay taxes, they work hard, they do the jobs that we don't want to do. And so to continue to let our legislators know how important it is that we pass comprehensive immigration reform, I think is a key issue.
Lisa, I'm sorry, the stateside waiver was what again?
Yes, currently if a person faces what's called an inadmissibility, that they wouldn't qualify to get a green card. For instance, a lot of persons who have crossed the border illegally, they came in without inspection, they don't qualify to adjust their status or get a green card by just marrying a United States citizen. They would be forced to go back to their countries and consular process, basically enter the United States legally. The problem is, in 1996, we passed a wonderful piece of legislation that basically said if you were here in the United States longer than 1 year, you would face a 10-year bar if you left and then tried to come back. And so you would have to apply for a waiver or a pardon for that unlawful presence. The stateside waiver program that is an administrative correction, the regs are sort of being redrafted, may even be more favorable than when this program was first announced, would allow persons to apply for that waiver in the United States. They would still have to return to their home country, but they wouldn't have as long a wait time outside of the United States, and they would have a more sure idea that their waiver would be approved before taking the risk of leaving the country and then, perhaps being stuck outside the United States for 10 years.